California to see the redwoods. And we went out through, Badlands, Yellowstone. And then we followed the Snake River all the way to the northern coast of Oregon. Then drove down to Northern California and then came back through on the southern edge of Oregon through the mountain ranges into northern Nevada.
Ooh.
Then went through the Salt Desert, saw the Salt Lake.
You didn't leave anything to go back out there.
We could go a little further south in Utah
Yeah,
and see those different parks, which we probably would do that. Maybe, not maybe next year, but year after, maybe we take a break from it. But I've been wanting to do a long car trip for about 4 years.
Doesn't get better.
But man, there's always something like a fire or a road closure or what on the route that I wanted to take. And this year was wide open.
Bad guy.
Yep. So.
They're shooting
Well,
firemen.
And we had good weather. We didn't have any rain until 10 miles from the house on the way home. Yeah, there was a storm.
This year I had a disc.
Then we were just behind it, you know, and it finally cut across the front of us as we were getting off the
I've ever
board.
been in.
Wow.
To come
They
down.
finally took
That's
our
the only
serious
rain
and
we
got
had
physical therapy.
the whole time. And the only hot day we had was in the Badlands.
But it's,
Yeah, it was, when we got to the Badlands, it was 92, and when we left, it was 95.
Yeah,
Other than that, the
You ever
weather
seen
was cool.
She's got them outside. She's repotted them. They're outside.
Like say, no rain. We had 0 rain.
Sorry, thank you very much for those.
It's amazing how far you can drive in a day when you don't have any kids in the back whining at you for a drink of water, something to eat, on board.
Yeah.
That's the first
They
road
can
trip
take a lot of
I've
work.
done without at
take a lot of
least a
work.
kid in the
They
back.
definitely do.
So, it was nice. You go a long ways in a
It
day.
sounds like
You
it
go a
was
long ways
something.
in a day when you're just winging it.
Yeah,
You know, nobody's playing. Just
So,
find a hotel on your phone and
Did you need to
figure it out.
Park board minutes?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Okay.
So today we were at the beach and tomorrow we're going back to the beach at the
Okay,
Grand.
from what I read
Oh.
online, or read
Then we
online,
went
Okay.
to the-
from what I read in the
we
email, it
went to
looks
South
fine to
Haven
me, but she
today
has a
and then
copy.
tomorrow we're
Yeah.
going to Beverly Shores. Yeah.
Do
South
either of you
Haven
guys
today.
need to see the minutes from last month, or did you read them?
I know nothing about them.
yeah, we sung them out.
Okay, did you wanna read them? I was gonna tell you she has a copy of them here, if you wanted to look at them really briefly.
I'm good.
Okay. And does everything on the agenda look all right? Is there anything anybody else wanted to discuss tonight that's not on the agenda?
Did we call it to order?
No, I was just gonna see if we need to add anything to it before we call the order.
I think I'm okay.
Mike, we're gonna discuss the water now since we have a quorum?
Should.
Okay, all right, we'll do that in other parks then, so we'll do the community garden. Okay, everybody's all set, I'll call the meeting to order. And everyone is present today, fantastic to see everybody's smiling faces, thanks for coming. Did everybody have a chance to look at the June park board report? And did you have any issues?
No issue.
No issues?
I haven't, anybody needs to see it.
Do I have a motion to accept the June park board report?
We'll make that motion.
Andrew
second.
motioned, seconded by Scott Dreamer. All in favor? Aye, vote carries. Okay, and visitors today? Does she have anything to present to us, sir?
Reagan, you wanna say anything about parks?
You don't have to if you don't
She
want.
likes them.
What's your favorite, which park is your favorite park?
None.
Put it on the spot.
Splash pad?
Okay.
That would have been my guess.
Which one?
Cummins Park with the splash. Thanks for coming in. All right, Jill, if you would like to start, do you have,
I do have a few things.
okay.
This is, I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Okay, sorry, at this point, it's just, do you have anything to report on the Summerfest?
Summerfest.
And
So,
or the movie night from the other night, just,
Summerfest, unfortunately, I reached out to, Shauna a few days ago, just to give like a recap, or they could attend tonight to give you guys a recap.
Mhm.
I was out of town, so I wasn't able to attend the event. Sort of what I heard is maybe the foot traffic was a little lower than they had expected. I know the weather wasn't the greatest, but I feel overall it was a successful event for them. But
Super.
I didn't hear anything bad about the event besides just they expected a little bit more, but with the weather, they were happy with the outcome.
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Saturday night, we did a fundraiser, Bristol on the River in the town, to try to help raise some funds for the Bristol Opera House. We did some activities for kids. We had a few food vendors there. The town sold corn dogs that Monogram donated. All those proceeds of the corn dog sales went to, the Opera House. And a portion of the food trucks, whatever they found appropriate to also give back to the Opera House. Once again, it was hot. The attendance was a little lower than expected, but a fun night. So we played the Lorax, and the Lorax was there.
Oh, great. I'll bet people love that.
Yes, Scott.
Back to the library event. Could you have Shauna get a hold of me?
Email you.
Whatever.
Phone call?
You can give her my phone call, or she can do it by phone or text.
I'll email her to get a hold of you.
Okay, thank you.
I've also discussed with them, just getting kind of after action report, let us know if they can, kind of numbers on how many they got, thoughts about problems or things that went well, and what we
Right.
can do looking forward to next year. So as soon as they share that with me, I'll share that with everybody as well.
Ditto, yeah, I'm just waiting to hear back, so I'll
Okay.
share that with you guys as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? At least that's outside of specific park things. Like if you got something about the Herman's Pavilion, we'll cover that when we get down a little bit further.
So I really have something to ask about Commons Condon, the reservations, and I don't know if you would bring the gator, if you wanted me to ask about the gator.
For fireworks?
Yes.
I just learned that he hasn't asked for it.
So are we not asking? Is that?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about it. Well,
Okay,
so
go ahead, let's go.
homecoming fireworks, apparently homecoming thought that Tommy Feldman, that does the fireworks, would like to use the gator to help transport fireworks from Hermanus back into the corner.
Mhm.
So I talked to Tom this afternoon, he says, well, I hope I don't need it, but I guess if I do, it'd be nice if I have it. So apparently he hasn't even asked for it yet. So I guess if it's, if he needs it, is it okay? It's just, I don't think he'll need it. Actually, he can drive his pickup back once.
Now, did you have an opinion on that? I feel like the gator is kind of your specialty, so.
Yeah, I was gonna
We
say.
said no last time.
And that's what I recall, so I wanted to check with you if there's.
If they can get a pickup truck back there, they might as well take their pickup truck.
Oh, I think so. Okay.
Because when it goes out, it never comes back right. It never
Didn't you
comes
say they
back
came back really
clean, it comes
dirty?
back dirty and somebody has to clean it, and guess who that is?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's why I say that, and I guess maybe,
Maybe they'll stop.
is this the same person doing the fireworks this year as would have been the year that it
All
was
the
far
other
all
years?
dirty? Yeah.
it's the same
Same
people.
Where are they shooting them
So
this year?
who suggested to do it? To use the gator?
I sort of maybe volunteered the gator. The homecoming asked if we had anything to get back there, like a side by side or something. I said, well, maybe we could use the gator. But I thought in the past, we had allowed the homecoming to use it.
We
So,
never use, the
They-
only people that can use it is the street department.
Except for the year where we loaned it to the
Well,
fireworks person and they returned it back dirty, right?
No, we used it for the corn.
yeah,
Corn
I
dog,
would say
and then the
we
corn dog
did.
fest. Yeah.
Came back, it still has grease all over the
Just
bottom.
generous. I'm like, why not?
I know you
Yeah.
are, but the only thing is, you never had to use that stupid tractor to water flowers with. That you'd get halfway through it and it'd die on you and you'd have to call up Bill Weidrich to come and start the thing again. You never did that. So I'm very protective on it because we use it. We're in the middle of using it right now.
And that's fine.
And
I
if
think
something
that's
happens
fine.
to it, then we're down. Then
But
what are
it
we gonna do?
Sounds like it might not even be a concern.
If they do request it, is it okay to ask them to try to find
They'll go-
another alternative?
Yes.
Or is it,
Well, they
or is
should-
that gonna cancel homecoming?
No, just fireworks.
Ants back in, further back north.
Couldn't get him to use the basketball court
My
again.
cats wouldn't mind.
That's probably the best fireworks show I've ever seen in my life was last year's.
Yeah.
Only because it
So-
shot literally right over my spot on the river. And that was like a beautiful display last year. It was incredible. Not that seeing them on the bridge is ugly by any stretch of the imagination, but that show last year was pretty cool.
So it got moved from Hermance back to Cummins after the show was already ordered, and Homecoming told me that no, they wanted it there. And then we had other issues arise, and so it's back in Hermance this year. If Homecoming wants to move it, we need to know in March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't have an issue with them using Cummins. It's,
So the only difference would be, there's no difference in cost, but there's no ground display if it's in Cummins. It's just all aerial. And they actually shot it, the ground part was on the basketball court, but most of it was shot off a little bit further north.
Yeah.
So it's up to Homecoming what they want to do next year. The fireworks guys are kind of neutral either spot.
cool.
It's, we also have a ton of safety issues to overcome if it's up there at Cummins because of State Route 120, people crossing, and
Yeah.
we need to move the restrooms, because the restrooms, porta potties in Cummins are within the zone that you cannot be in.
Right.
And so last year, people were in there all the time to the restrooms, and
Yeah.
I was supposed to tell a pregnant Amish woman that's like 8 or 9 months pregnant, she couldn't use the
Couldn't use the
restroom, I didn't do that, and I got yelled at by the fireworks.
Thank you for explaining that. I
Yeah,
misunderstood.
that was like more detail than you needed, but.
I thought the safety issues were with having it at Hermance, so.
No, that's all been solved now that we moved it further north.
So where are they having them?
Hermance,
Hermance, this year, the
Yep.
fireworks will be at Hermance.
it will be at Hermance.
Yes. And you also said the pertinent piece of information is the decision needs to be made by March, if it's going to be moved somewhere else.
Yes,
Is that
for
correct?
homecoming, yeah, homecoming.
Homecoming, yeah. Okay. So is the Gator issue
Gator,
covered,
yeah.
resolved to your satisfaction? Okay,
Gator,
thank you, Mike.
yeah.
Did you want to cover the community garden water bill now?
We can.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think those lengthy emails that had lots of detail. So the community garden, as it was my impression, this board said that is a park board activity. And the reason that had to be made clear is actually goes back when Dean was on this board. He was also on the street department. Dean and I talked about this morning. He was questioning why the street department was working or doing anything with the community garden. So that's the reason it came to the board. I thought this board,
Can I make
Yeah.
a comment about that? At the time when we did like the tilling, for example, that was some of the first street department work we did. I thought at the time when I was asking for that and Dean said he could take care of it, that he was saying he would do it on a volunteer basis outside of hours. So I was surprised when I found out that they were doing that with street department employees on street department time. Just to clarify my perspective on
yeah,
that.
so I recall the park board voted and it is a park department program. And that's helpful because that allows us to use staff time there and a lot of other things. It just helps. And it clarifies things. So then, I don't know, Jill, maybe you can talk about the history of the water bill there. How many years did it go with nobody noticing?
Oh, a couple of years. Oh, it's been there, what, 2 years? So biggest.
No, it was, sorry.
Relocated there.
Year one in 2021, it was at the old location. We hooked up water. There wasn't even a meter on it.
Correct.
Year two, when we hooked up the water, you told me there was a monitor, but that the town would not be charging. I don't know when you guys resumed looking at that water bill, but that was in 2022 that.
So then,
And we did as a park board approve the installation of that hydrant. We covered the funds for the installation of the hydrant. I do remember we officially said that.
so last year it came to the utility clerk and Kathy's attention that that had never been billed for consumption. So last year, we brought it to council, and I believe the park board, there was an astronomical bill that was overlooked on our end. So with that being said, the council covered, I believe, those expenses, because the park at that point wouldn't have the funds to cover that large water bill. And so the one I just emailed everyone about last week was the first one of the 2025 season. And it was high.
So we should have discussed this when we thought about our budget this year, but totally forgot about it. And so
Yeah.
now we just need to decide, does the park board want to cover this cost, or does the park board want to approach the council and say, hey, this is your contribution to the community garden, and would you cover it this year and going forward? Yeah. That's kind of the dilemma. So if it was smaller amounts, maybe we could work it in. If I could get it by the clerk treasurer, I could kind of work it in here and there, but $500. Jill and Kathy kind of watch me, so I can't just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathy creates bills, I pay him, and Mike goes, oh.
So that's the question right now, is what do we do with the water bill for the community garden? Does the park department want to absorb that, or ask the town council?
And before we answer that, I just want to clarify my role. I've said this to Mike and Eric plenty of times, but when I'm talking about the community garden, even when I'm sitting in this seat, I'm talking as the community garden coordinator, as a volunteer, not as the park board president. My concern over us paying the water bill is perceived conflict of interest on my part, because I'm very personally involved with the garden. And I also thought that town council was paying the water bill all the years that we've had it in place. So my preference as the garden coordinator, not as the park board president, would be that we ask town council to cover it, because that's what we thought was going on. But I'll leave that up to you guys. And if you want to ask me anything, discuss anything with me about the garden or the irrigation, I would be happy to answer your questions now.
Do you want to talk to the council and ask them to cover it? Or do you think that's a conflict of interest, is my question. Do you feel comfortable going to them and saying, you've covered it the last
That's,
X? Do you
that's what I
want
was
to
gonna
cover it
propose.
forward as your contribution to this? If you don't want to, could you cover it this year and we figure out how to budget for it next year, because it was overlooked because
Yes.
of the park board's assumption that the town board was covering,
Yes.
right?
And that's what I was gonna suggest. If Mike didn't want to ask the town council, I would go to them as the garden coordinator and say, would you be willing to do this?
It'd be better coming from you guys, yeah.
Coming from you guys, park board, or coming from you guys, Michael, Rob, the garden
Actually,
coordinator?
either one. And I think you're overthinking the conflict of interest. So you're
Yeah.
connected to the garden. Everybody
Mhm.
knows that, but you're also on the park board. So
Right.
Yeah,
I
and
wouldn't worry
you've
about
been
it.
the vice president prior to this year, so you've held an administrative role prior to now, which you're still in an administrative role, but you've been in an administrative role, prior to that. So I'm kind of with Mike. I don't think that that's a conflict of interest, but
Okay.
I understand your feelings.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
but, I think it would be better coming from you. I agree with that, if you're okay
Mhm.
doing it.
Yeah.
And I would include the statistics from last year's garden. How much produce was produced and what was delivered to the hub.
Mhm.
I would do that.
I mean, my question is, and maybe you two can answer this, does the town board perceive the community garden as a benefit to the community? Like, I don't go to those meetings, so what's their perception of the community garden? Do they like it? Do they not like it? Do
I
they?
have not heard any comments one way or the other. Have you? Yeah, so I
Is
don't.
something they want to see, like, oh, this is a great thing? Yeah, we'd love to be a part of
Oh,
it. Or no, it's a pile of crap and we want nothing. I mean, those are things we would need
This,
to hear.
this
going
discussion should give us pretty good feedback on that.
Okay.
So here's a concern I have. So this last month's bill was a large consumption, 60,000 gallons, which came to $542. I don't know if the council's gonna support the garden that's gonna cost $2,000+ a year.
Did you see my email that first month's usage is considerably higher than it will be each month following the
Yeah,
rest
but
of the year?
I'm trying to figure out how much less will it be next month? Because we have a lot of people have gardens. That's a lot of water. For so,
Didn't Kathy
I'm
email,
concerned.
yeah. Didn't Kathy email about this late last year?
Yes,
There's a backlog of several $1,000s.
yes.
And, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, are we looking just for this May bill to cover that, or are we looking to cover the backlog? I mean, it's kind of setting a precedent for things going forward, and if we take it to council, you need to be prepared for what if the answer is no?
Yeah.
And then what are you gonna do about water then? I mean, it's on town property, right, but it's not technically on a part of a park? Is that
Correct.
what
Yeah.
we're talking about?
Yep, that town is owned by the property, or by the property.
Right.
That property is owned by the town.
So, I mean, yeah, you could ask, but I think it would be. Personally, from my experience of being on council in 23 and then being on Parks Board here through 24, I've always understood it to be a part of the Parks program. But I would think this may be an opportune time to, next cycle, this sounds like a big undertaking, but move the garden. I know you wanted to do something down in Hermance. And if you move the garden to a place where the water table is a little bit higher, maybe you don't need to consume as much water. Or maybe even run off the little Ellen cart.
It's only consuming for $500 worth right now, but next month it'll be probably, what, 350? And then the next, because you have to water your seedlings to get them to go, but once your roots are established, you don't need to water as much.
I've already reduced the overall time by 25%, 33%, give or take. So,
I think it depends on how hot it is and when.
and how much rain we get
how
and
much
things
rain
like
we get.
that.
Well, I think it's gonna be a lot of variables.
I think we're still talking about it, we're still working that out. If I can answer, a few of the things that you addressed there. I wouldn't physically be able to start another garden. That no-till method, requires you adding the soil by hand. And I also wanna say, I do recognize that that's a town property, and if the town decides they're gonna do something different with it, by all means, I know that that's, the garden's gonna go away. But there's problems in Hermance. I get what you're saying about the water table, that would be helpful. But sunlight would be an issue.
Sure.
Would really reduce our overall production. I don't know if I'm getting into too many of the details for the irrigation, but part of the reason why we do have to water a lot is that the soil that was provided for us the first year is very sandy. Sandy soil doesn't hold moisture. So if you've got to keep the soil constantly wet for that first 3 to 4 weeks, you have to water it long enough that soil won't dry out. And I was monitoring the system pretty closely to see how long we needed. And I know that seems like a lot of usage. I don't want to make it sound like I'm taking it lightly that it's a lot of money. But I know how much we spent on trash cans. And I realize that's a one-time cost versus a yearly. But again, talking as the garden coordinator, this garden feeds hungry people. And it gives people not just food, but fresh, nutritious food. I've just spoken with the new director at the Hub. Did you guys know they have a new director now? Chris Garner is no longer the director of the Hub.
Director.
Tom MacArthur?
He's in
Oh, he's
right
interim.
now.
He's what?
He's interim.
Interim.
Yeah, he's not.
Do you guys want to clarify that for me? I mean, he's doing the job of the director right now, right?
So he's the president of the board of directors. And he's
Okay.
kind of stepping in while we're looking for a new executive director.
I just wanted to say I met him a week or two ago when we started doing our bigger deliveries, and he just said that this type of thing provided to a pantry is an amazing resource. And I've been grateful to Mike, the town, Jill, this board, everybody else that supported the garden so far, because it does amazing things for the community. And last year, we estimated we delivered 700 pounds to the pantry and did probably 1,000 pounds overall. This year will likely be less. Well, it's hard to estimate that. It's hard to estimate that, but it could be less because we didn't get as early a start as last year.
Is this a budgetable thing for us to do?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that, Scott? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just included next year's budget. And you could pay for it this year. We just might have to appropriate some additional funds. You've got the money there. So my suggestion is ask the town council, because you've asked some other questions. You'd like feedback from them. This would be a good metric as to, is the community garden important to them? If so, instead of just providing land, which doesn't cost them anything, about the water. And if they say no, then that,
We can
I
put
like
cover it.
the water.
yeah, we still covered this.
I'm also open with the idea of asking some local businesses like Monogram if they'd be willing to cover some money. I would think Monogram would like the press of supporting a local garden that feeds the hungry.
Monogram Foods Community Garden. Like the ring.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Pick up the money.
Yeah, I'd rather not put their sign on
Oh,
it, if that's
okay.
okay.
I don't
No,
know. Had a
I
good
would
ring.
gladly put a thank you in all of our promotional materials, though. I
Well,
would definitely.
You know, there are a lot of industries out there. And they don't do a whole heck of a lot for Bristol. If you sit
And
and
Scott-
really think
And
about
Scott
it,
does a
do
great
they?
time to get money out of people.
Just need a letter.
Right,
Yeah.
So.
okay, so where do we stand on the water bill? Well, I guess I didn't finish the thing about the soil. I did want to add that we started with really sandy soil. I was able to go out last year and get a bunch of composted peat moss from an organic greenhouse in South Bend. And that is the best stuff you can do for water retention. So that's been worked into the soil. And the way the no-till soil method works is all that soil is going to kind of incorporate with each other and grow over the years. So we're going to have better water retention as time goes on. We're going to have better productivity as time goes on. And again, that first month, don't assume that's what it's going to be for the rest of the summer. That's going to be the highest month of the entire summer that we're watering. So. And I don't remember if I mentioned this before the meeting, when I was talking about, the organization that supports us, Seed to Feed, is on a funding freeze right now. They were able to help us out with a lot of things, but they weren't able to provide any replacement irrigation equipment this year. So I've got valves that are leaking. So the system is not perfect. They're not heavy leaks. And like I think I said before, is if we do have a leak, what we normally do is just plant more plants there. Simple solution, but I do have more leaks this year because I'm working with older equipment. So that's
The
something
leak
that
is only when the water is on.
right, only when the water's on. There's no leaks when the
There's
system's
no
shut down.
Yeah,
It's just leaking from the valves while the system's running.
So when should we speak to the town council?
You can do it this Thursday or
Are they meeting next
Next
Thursday?
meeting. this Thursday, yeah.
Isn't that the fourth? Or is the fourth
First.
Friday?
the first.
Okay,
First and third
Thursday.
Thursdays.
okay.
Well, either this week or in 2 weeks. Just let me know. I'll slot you right in there.
Okay.
How do you feel about adding it as a budget item for 26, for the long-term security of it?
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
See what?
And if that's what you guys would
Absolutely.
prefer, I'm okay with that.
If we have the money for it.
We have the money this year to do it if they say no.
Yeah, we're all operating on the same checking account. We're just saying who's cutting the check. That's all we do.
Right, and that's all I was saying in the email about the
Money for it.
arguing over whose budget it comes out of. In the end, it's all coming from them, so.
Yeah, I would like to see it part of our budget.
Okay,
So we're thinking probably
And that-
$2,000 in our budget.
Probably what I'll do.
Probably
Yeah.
2,000
Yeah.
to budget $2,000 for it.
If they say no,
I'm guessing it'll
we
be
can
less than
cover it, but, be nice. I agree with you,
Yeah,
Andrew, that we should have it as a line.
Okay.
Line item.
so then do we need to talk
It'll
to
go
them at
in
all?
tomorrow morning into your next year's budget.
Okay.
form. So,
We don't, so that we don't need to ask them for anything, we just need to tell them. Hey,
Well,
we're amending
it's
the
up to
budget.
you. If you want to ask them,
Since we did not, since it was not, we lost the budget. It didn't get in the town budget, it didn't get in the, the park board budget. Would they be willing to go half with us?
For 25,
Hmm?
2025.
Yeah, for 2025.
for this year.
And then we will then budget it in our budget
So if there's no more misunderstanding.
for 2026.
Correct.
And then
That's-
stuff
okay.
in-
Does that sound like a,
Correct.
And
As
who's
the
the,
garden,
Yeah.
as the garden coordinator, I feel fine with that.
okay, who's the ask?
How do you guys feel about that?
Michael said?
I mean, I'll go talk to the council.
Michael.
Okay, Michael's gonna, okay.
But if you guys are gonna do a motion and a vote, I would like you guys to do the motions.
So are you making a motion to split 2025, half council, half parks, and then going forward? Starting 2026, we have this as a.
As
an
a-
item.
As a line item.
Are you making that?
Is that your
I'll,
motion?
I'll,
Linda?
I'll move that.
I'll
I'll
second
make that motion.
Okay, Linda has moved. Andrew has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those three were all ayes. I'm abstaining. Vote carries.
I have an additional motion.
Yes.
If they say no, we get the money moved to cover it this year. Okay, I just want to have a, just say, fine, well, they're gonna cover it, you know, but if they take the ask. But we need a motion for that because we aren't currently in the position to pay the water bill. So that's my motion. If they say no, we go ahead and cover it for this year.
Okay, Scott has made a motion to cover it if town council says no for this year. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Andrew seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's three ayes, one abstention. Vote carries. Thank you very much. And also know going forward, you guys want to know anything about the garden, reach out to me anytime. And thank you for your support. It means a lot to me. Okay, are we ready to move on?
Yep.
All right, next one, we've got park rentals and events, acquiring chairs, table and trailer discussion. Mike?
sure. Outside of the chairs, tables and trailer, did you have anything else on park rentals?
Yes,
Why don't you go first?
all right.
Okay, Jill's gonna talk on
There
park
was a-
rentals.
Sorry, I didn't add this to the agenda because I realized it later.
Can't talk about it, none of you.
I know, right? Can we add an item to the agenda, please? So it came to our attention, we had somebody that rented Condon Park for, I want to say July 9th, but that doesn't really matter. The point is they canceled it and we realized we don't have anything in wording as we do with the Herman Park agreements. So if you cancel for whatever reason, we hold a portion of that rental because we might have lost potential future rentals.
Sure.
We don't have anything in the Cummins or Condon Park. Now, the rental is much less than what it is at Herman's. We only charge $50 for the day rental and $100 security deposit. Does the council, the park board want to consider, same kind of concept of retaining a portion of those funds? Or if they cancel the day before, just refund the entire rental fee and just be done with it? Because right now that's what the agreement states.
How often are those pavilions rented? I mean, are they pretty consistently rented all throughout the summer?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, then them
Like
holding the spot
Cummins
down.
and Condon, but yeah, they're both rented.
Okay, so it sounds like if somebody does rent it and then cancel, I mean, are very likely losing money. It's not just
Potentially,
possibly,
yes.
but, okay.
Especially if they do it, a day or two prior. I mean,
Mhm.
if it's months in advance, then we can easily recoup that probably.
Right,
But right now, in the event of a cancellation, the fees of, for $50 would be refunded. That's what we have at Herman's. We charge $175 for that rental. It doesn't really state like a time frame. When you cancel, we're gonna hold the $50. So just something to consider if that's something we wanna look at Cummins and Condon, because I was gonna hold a portion of the rental, but then I looked at the agreement and went, oh,
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
see it
we can't.
I'd like to
across the
see,
board.
yeah,
yeah.
So
I
we-
What you
agree.
do in one, do it all.
yeah.
So with that being said, if we charge $50, what would be a reasonable amount to keep?
Half.
Half.
If you guys wanna make a motion of whatever you guys decide tonight, we can add that verbiage to the contracts moving forward.
Make a motion half.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
And is that,
Alright.
sorry,
Sorry.
Linda?
Uh,
Are you in
Yes,
favor?
I,
Okay.
Do we know,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we didn't, I mean.
Sorry, hold on, Andrew's got a question.
Do we know what other surrounding municipalities do for cancellations, what they hold back? Do we have anything there?
I don't.
I don't, I'm an Elkhart County person, sort of trying to figure that out now, but, half? That seems,
Yeah, the motion is that it's a $50 rental, and the motion is that if they cancel within a shorter period, and, what is the time frame? Do we need to identify a time frame?
To ask.
That's the next thing is what time frame do we want?
For you. I mean,
We don't have any time frame in the remains agreement right now. It just says in the event of a cancellation, the fees except for $50 will be refunded. So.
is there any way to word it so that if we are able to re-rent it, that they wouldn't have to pay that cancellation fee? You know, like say they canceled 30 days in advance and we're able to re-rent it, then charging a cancellation fee doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
That's still.
But then
I mean.
you'd have to wait to refund their money or something until the date to see if it was re-rented.
Maybe an easier way is that if it's canceled within 10 days or 14 days, you only get half your money back.
I mean, does 14 days seem a reasonable amount of time?
can
I would say one.
I jump in and read Elkhart County's cancellation policy?
Please and thank you.
Cancellation/refund, facility reservation fees and security deposit, if applicable, will be refunded minus a $15 service charge fee if the cancellation occurs more than 21 days prior to the reservation date. As an option, a one-time transfer to another specific date at the time of your cancellation may occur within the same calendar year if it occurs more than 21 days prior to the original reservation date, minus the $15 service charge.
Can you repeat that so she can write that all down? No.
Maybe
Thank
the
you.
simple way is, we've already passed this, but any cancellations are charged a $15 service charge, and that's it.
Cancellations what?
Don't write
Not
anything.
yet.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
done yet.
So instead of, we refund everything but $15, we get $15 for service charge.
Regardless of.
And what we lose if they cancel and we can't re-rent it is just the $50, right? But then we're getting 15 back.
I think something should happen, and I'm fine with that. I like 21 days too, because we
Yeah.
can reissue a rental there, but I think something should be saved.
Yeah, I think it's any cancellation across the board. They cancel, they get charged. You call up, reserve it, and I don't care if it's 10 minutes before or a year before, $15. I just want it standardized, I mean,
Yeah.
just so you're not saying, oh, were they in the 20, well, it's 19 days, is that close enough?
Say, we
You
don't
know?
spend a lot of time on reservation.
No,
it's
but that's what I
still
say, just-
admin work, paperwork review, the entering, the code,
Yeah.
whatever.
Across the board, doesn't
So
matter.
lose the money.
Okay.
You like
You're
it.
So
still
you guys
losing
can make another
You're not
motion,
dropping
or your
anything.
motion.
Yeah, Scott, do you want to amend your motion?
No, but okay, from half to $15,
For any cancellation at any time.
any cancellation.
Thanks.
Yeah,
What do you think, Andrew?
paperwork's done, you cancel, it's a charge.
Yeah, are we putting a deadline on there, like if it's less than X number of days, then
Nope.
it's not refundable?
I think Scott's saying to just regardless of the
Charge
time.
no matter what?
And I feel
Like,
like
we're keeping your money and we're charging you $15.
And we're charged, yeah,
um,
truck full.
yeah, for the anguish.
3% convenience charge.
You are renting this pavilion whether you like it or not.
And if you show up, I guess you get to use it. Nope.
Yeah, the funeral there. too.
And you'll owe us more money.
can I add just a added addendum to that motion, Scott? That we charge a $15 cancellation fee regardless of when they cancel. But we would leave the final decision up to Jill or town staff's discretion. You know, if you feel like somebody's canceled 3 months in advance, like, I would be okay with you saying, I'm gonna go ahead and waive that. Does that sound like an okay solution? Because then what we have in writing is really clear, just cut and dry, $15 for cancellation,
That makes
but
sense, because there could be exceptions.
yeah, you may know on the day they're canceling it that you've already had somebody call to see if they could rent, that you might be able to get back in touch with, you know, just special situations like that. I think for a $15 surcharge, I would be okay with leaving that discretion up to town staff. Do you guys think that seems like a reasonable solution? Okay. So I guess Scott made a motion. I made an addendum, so I'm not sure how we want to put that. I'll just make the first motion. I move that we have a $15 cancellation charge added to the pavilions at Cummins and Condon. And we'll leave the discretion of that charge up to town staff.
And leave what?
Leave what's a better way to word that?
Discretion.
We'll leave the discretion of that up to town staff. Very good work, Scott, thank you.
Good word.
So I made a motion. Does anyone have a second?
I'll second.
Linda seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 votes for aye. Vote carries.
That's all.
Does that work for you, Jill? Okay,
Yep, thank you.
super duper. All right,
Okay, so, here's an idea. All I need from you folks tonight is you like it or you don't like it. So the concept started with the Corn Dog Festival, who is renting 100 and some chairs for the Corn Dog Festival. We've also had other festivals that would have been nice to have seating in the common park. Chairs or something other than just picnic tables. I don't know if Homecoming would use it, but we could have used it last Saturday night. That had a crowd, Summerfest maybe. So what if we buy 100, and I'm thinking, I've looked at wooden folding chairs because they can sit on the ground. And so there's like $2,000 package, you get good quality wooden folding chairs and a carrier for them. We see if we can get an enclosed trailer donated to us from one of our folks in town. So we have chairs in a trailer, enclosed trailer, and maybe add some tables to that. That's available for people to rent if they want it in Condon Park or Cummins Park for that matter too. So it'd be something else for us to rent. It would increase, I think, the appeal of using the parks during that. So if you like the idea, we'll put together a formal proposal, see if we can figure out, I want to see what I actually paid the bill. I made a down payment for the Corn Dog Festival. We could almost, maybe, in 2 years, get the Corn Dog Festival to actually pay for these chairs, because they're renting them anyways, they might as well rent them from us.
do you have a proposed price that you would charge for rentals? Just to give us an idea of how long it would take us to pay back whatever costs we put into it.
Yeah. It seems like these are like a bucket chairs to rent, 80, 90 or dollars or a bucket chair, something like that. But there's also a delivery fee and some other fees that go with that. So I'm not sure, but I think it's in about $500, $600 is what the Corn Dog folks are paying. But if you like the general concept, I'll come up with something more fleshed out.
Okay.
Where does it get kept at?
We'll keep it in the street department.
Okay,
And because they would handle the rentals and we probably have an extra fee if we're setting up tables and chairs, taking them down and certainly.
So who would that be?
I like
I like
the
it.
idea.
I like it.
Okay.
We got at least 3 likes, Linda. You got a like or
I
a
like-
retweet?
I like the tables to be included.
Okay.
That's-
I like the idea of having more things available to rent to the public. I grew up in Elkhart Parks, and I mean, they had everything you could think of to rent. It was kind of surprising. Now they had a lot more storage options, but
So one more, can I get that amount?
There's no amounts yet. The only thing we have is a concept of tables
Okay.
and chairs for rental in our parks.
Okay,
we had the plastic, we still have it at the fire department in Middlebury, and they're destroyed.
Yeah,
Jill can probably attest to that, because she just borrowed a bunch of them for graduation. I don't know if they made it 1 year that we didn't already have a broken table and a broken plastic chair.
We almost need to have it.
right.
So
I
if
was
we
thinking
could go
about it.
metal, I don't know if metal, wood, whatever you think, but
I'm thinking wood because with metal, if the caps come off the bottom, you're shoving dirt up inside.
Right.
And they'll just sink and you'll have people
Right,
tipping
yeah.
over.
But a nice wooden chair, from what I've seen, I mean, they're a little more expensive, obviously,
Yeah.
but might be worth the investment.
Okay.
I also thought about purchasing benches, just have benches. It's less effective seating because your bench may seat 8 people, but only 4 will sit there.
yeah,
Mhm.
And it's not as easily stackable.
I believe Andrew brought up, was it last month or the month before, the idea of looking into getting,
Those, I like.
those benches?
Yeah,
Inside.
Yeah, I don't.
Is this, I'm wondering, is this an idea to replace that, or are we gonna still be exploring both options?
I haven't done anything with this, what stadium was like,
See,
It was like the aluminum benches. Yeah.
yes.
like a Little League
I
diamond.
like your idea better. Completely willing to just drop that
Okay.
and yeah.
I actually
Because
thought
we were
about-
talking about where to store those.
Yeah.
I also thought about getting one of those Amish church wagons, you know, that they just pull the benches out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no back to them, but, and they're hardwood.
Yeah.
That's where the first idea came from, is just hire Amish craftsmen to make a wagon with a bunch of benches and tables, and
Yeah.
maybe that's still the idea. I don't know.
No, I like that idea. Let's look into
Okay.
that. And if you can, if there's any way while you're looking at it to get an idea of the warranty on those, or how long they're gonna last, or if we just plan going forward, if we do this, try to record, okay, you know, we lost 3 tables in 1 year, you know, bring us some feedback on how they're lasting, so we can get a better idea if we're charging the right amount for rentals to recoup our costs.
We could use that like at homecoming. I'm still thinking, you know, it's fun to go and get your food and walk and eat your food at the same time, but a lot of people would like to sit down and eat.
And you don't need a picnic table, you just need a bench, because all you need to do is sit, really.
That actually brings us to our next topic.
It
Does Eric, is he with us?
He is not, so
Okay.
I sent him a text and not with us,
I
but.
saw the pads reported.
Yeah, he sent an email, I think, saying
Yeah,
that they went in.
so
Did that go to everybody?
the 2 pads are poured, we're not super thrilled with them right now. What John Young did is he tried to match the elevation of the sidewalk, which is smart, but now we've got a problem with on the riverside, there's a fairly steep ledge, so we're not sure what John Young's plan is, but we need to have that more landscape, so Eric is working on that. I didn't get a report back.
Are they doing the 3 pads or only 2? There's supposed to be one over by the playground.
I thought we had 4. Thought we were
Yeah, do
doing
you know,
4.
can you show us, Mike, with the mouse where he was talking about, or where they've been poured?
One over by the fishing pad.
Yeah,
Okay.
right in this
Yeah.
area and one right over here, isn't it? Or is it further this way? Right in here. There's those 2 right now.
What about north of the pavilion? I thought we were gonna do a cluster of
We are going to
tables
put
there.
a table back in there, but we weren't sure we'd pour a pad back there.
He's
Okay.
gonna set
Oh,
a table.
okay.
Okay, maybe that was it. He's just sticking the table.
And so
Okay.
there's 3 or 4 tables.
I thought the whole idea was so that the tables don't get in the
The
river
river.
Yeah,
or end up in the river. That was the whole point to the pads and securing them. Okay,
okay. So tables are coming, supposed to be ordered.
4 tables.
It's 3 or 4. We've got a nice one that's sitting down in storage right now that they're cleaning up. And so we've got 1 already. So maybe
Okay.
ordered 3.
So I thought we were doing 5 altogether, so we.
I thought
it was 3, you thought it was 4.
I thought it was
3.
4.
You thought it was 3?
3 spots, 1, 2,
spots.
3.
3 locations, but I thought
Yeah.
5 tables altogether.
Okay.
But
Four tables.
if we get
I'm meeting with
any
Eric
tables in there, that's an
tomorrow.
improvement. That's an improvement.
We talked about ordering them last week and it's been too many days since.
Mike, going back to that, the concrete pour.
Town council, we're not gonna have
is it-
those for a homecoming. Is that what you're telling me?
Tables maybe, I'm not sure if we'll have the tables there by homecoming or not. I'm not sure.
if we can even get the one that you have in storage.
Yes,
And
get that out.
that would be an improvement.
My notes were 4 tables north of the pavilion and 2
You had 6.
fishing pier near the river on the east, and then 2 north of the pavilion.
Mhm.
I don't know, I think I have 4,
I thought it was 4.
sorry. It might have been yours, 3, we have that one on hand.
Yeah, that might have been it.
Mike, going back to that drop
Yes.
off on the concrete pour, I haven't seen it, so is it something that like we could add soil to that back side and plant grass so that it's.
It's actually the other way.
Comes up to it?
The soil is up here, the pad is
Oh.
down here, so it just needs to be kind
Oh,
of
so just
landscaped around.
kind of dug out and
So we're just
leveled
wanting
to-
John to.
So
do
there's not a
that.
tripping hazard.
Only for walking towards the river, you're not watching what you're doing.
People would
Which
never
is-
do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Anything else on
that's-
picnic tables?
I don't think so.
Okay, Mike, next thing on the agenda is a homecoming kayak launch request.
Right, so I hadn't thought about this before, but maybe you guys would like to know that homecoming is demanding that the kayak launch. Demanding? Asking strongly
Yeah, strongly.
that this
recommended.
kayak launch be closed during homecoming, so that's like Thursday, Friday,
What happened
Saturday.
to the post? Why is the post out of where it was?
Oh, because we redid that with the sand and they didn't put the post back in yet.
And there was a truck backed up last night,
Was
using it as a launch.
Yeah.
I don't think for the boat, like,
No. I've
Boats
literally
are-
seen boats now down it while I've been paddling.
No.
not.
And I
That's not gonna be
paddled
good
by
for the
there,
erosion.
there's ruts in what has been put in there from people backing their trailers down
Feedback.
and loading. I told someone to get your trailer off of that, that's not what that's for.
I,
Then I got a who the f- are you? And I got out and told them who I was. So, then I noticed the post was not in there anymore to keep people from doing
yeah,
that.
there was a truck, they didn't have a trailer, but they were backed up to the water last night.
So we pulled the
Mike, is
post
that
out,
something they can
we
do?
redid the sand, and then we waited till the spring to see how all the erosion would happen, and certainly we had erosion, so we did more work, put the stone in. They just want to get that post back in, so
Yeah.
it's on my list.
Is
To
that
keep
something we
Scott
can
from
have as
getting
a top
into a fist
priority?
fight,
Yeah. What's that?
to keep Scott from getting into a fist fight, let's put the post back in.
Okay.
So.
Or to prevent the over erosion of the work, so their guys don't have to do
It
extra
actually is
work.
working fairly well with that, the really heavy
It looks
rainstorm we had.
nice. I just don't want people
Yeah.
putting
Oh,
trailers
yeah.
and their vehicles down there, that's all, cause it
Yeah.
looks really good.
Toy kayak rental guys said there's been lots of compliments.
Yeah, it looks
Okay,
good.
Great, let's keep it looking good by getting that
Yeah.
post put back in.
We will.
And then Mike, did you have, what was homecoming's concern with it being open?
They want to utilize that spot, all the parking area back there for.
And I understand, it's not like we
vendors and
don't, it's
campers.
not like we don't have an alternate kayak launch for people to use.
Yeah,
and
that's
boat
my
launch
thought
For
too,
people
is
to
it's right
use, I
across the
mean,
street.
We've got her man, so.
yeah, it's a, yeah.
My only thoughts, I don't know, like opposing that is just simply that people might wanna float down the river and get out and go to homecoming.
I know.
But is the main thing the parking that they don't wanna share, like they don't want cars in and out of there?
Yeah,
It does lend to
Because-
danger, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's people wanting to get in there when they're trying to regulate who's getting, I understand their point of view. And if the town's gonna continue to support a homecoming, then we should probably respect their requests.
yeah.
You know, I understand that.
So that will happen. The same thing will happen this year with Corn Dog Festival, probably. Although next year, the plan is to have a kayak race of some sort that will end up there. Everybody's excited about that.
They should do
That
bridge
sounds
to
good.
bridge is what you should suggest to them.
Bridge to bridge.
They can start it at Hermance, they
Mm-hmm.
paddle down to our bridge, to go under, and then go all the way back up to the toll road bridge, loop around and come back down to Hermance
We
for
were
the finish.
asking about how to do this.
That's
because
bridge to bridge.
Montville is too far.
I know, them do bridge to bridge. Yep.
But for those who are not avid paddlers.
You can still
it's
do
hard.
you can still do a. Well, the Stribes did a competitive heat and a rec heat. So you could use a yeah, you can do a competition boat and then you can do rec boat. You just have
Okay.
different classes. And then you can do a kayak race and a canoe race both.
Yeah.
Just needs to talk to Scott.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
Scott needs to run this.
Yeah.
But it's bridge to
Scott's in
bridge.
charge.
Yeah, okay.
Well, then do we have like firemen and boats, like downriver to
The
catch any
firemen
people
are the
that
most excited about
Well, I
doing.
mean, if you want,
They wanna be in the kayak.
yeah, if you want safety, then yeah, I mean, the town has a boat and you could probably get Oslo to come over with theirs and have both those boats in the water. They'd probably do it.
Yeah, I would hope if we're doing anything big like that on the water with people.
But
we've got
that's-
some,
But that's how you
got
start
somebody
it.
down there to catch any floaters.
Just so you
More
go,
fun than the wiener dog.
yeah, you go downriver first, loop
Yep.
around our bridge and then go all the way up to the toll road bridge, loop around the pylons and then come all the way back and the finish is at Herman's.
Yeah,
That's the traditional bridge to bridge.
All right.
all right.
And that's
Thank
the
you.
one,
Do you
that's the
need-
one Fluid Fund ran. It would be late in the summer that they did that for years. Yeah,
Do you
late
need an
summer,
official
early
vote?
fall.
No,
To close the kayak launch.
well,
And it's known, people know about this bridge to bridge.
Yeah, bridge to bridge. It was a race for years that the Stripes
A
hosted.
lot of people know about that.
see, there are no
Right.
new ideas. It's just
Yeah.
rediscovering old
Right.
great things.
Whatever
whatever
you
you
want
wanna
to do,
do.
you're kind of
Foothills
proposing we
race.
tackle as a
Nobody's
park
ever
board,
picked that back.
Tackle, what is a park board?
this kayak race. Are you just saying you're providing this as advice to was it the corn
Yeah,
dog?
they wanna-
Festival that said they wanna do it?
Corn Dog Festival wants to do it, but yeah, if they want to know if they want to do a race, yeah, that's bridge to bridge and
Cause I didn't know anything about the bridge to bridge race. That sounds great. And I think we should do that to promote to people. I mean, a lot of people already know, but to promote to people that we have the kayak launches.
Yep.
Um,
But yeah, the question was, do we need to make a motion to close for the stuff this summer?
Yeah, I guess it's up to you
Okay.
guys. I mean, I'm
I would make
taking
a
it.
motion to.
Do you have a
allow
list of
homecoming to-
events other than the two you already presented?
Yeah,
Are there any others
Sorry,
this year?
I'll wait
There
till
are
they're done.
no others that I'm aware
Okay, so it's the homecoming and the corn dog festival.
I
Right?
mean,
My
And the
understanding?
car festival, I don't know if they need to do it for the car
Yeah,
festival.
we've never had any other requests to have a closure.
yeah, I think we should just stick to homecoming because they're the only ones requesting it.
in Corn
Yeah.
Dog.
Corn dog is requesting it too.
Corn dog is requesting it to be
Might
open
be
though, right?
requesting it This year,
of. Corn dog?
for the kayak launch, yeah. it's supposed to.
Yes, yes.
They're
planning to
requesting
use
that it's closed this year?
Well, they're requesting to use all that parking area back there, so it becomes impractical to keep it open then.
Mhm.
I make a motion for those two events. That we close the kayak launch at Congdon Park.
Can we add to that signage provided by the event coordinator or, you
Yeah,
know, something along those lines so that they'd be responsible for putting up no parking signs and things like that, so our town staff isn't responsible for that? Does it sound good? Okay. Scott made a motion to allow Corn Dog Festival and Homecoming to close the kayak launch.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote carries. All in favor? Thank you very much. Anything else on that, Mike or Jill?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on to Cummins Park then.
okay.
Mike, everything in here is just kind of under, well, let's just go over it. The new parking proposal discussion.
Okay, so we talked about expanding this parking lot further east into this area. So we've done some preliminary studies on this and it ends up we are moving a ton of dirt and creating some problems up in this area here with elevation differences. So Eric and I were brainstorming the other day and we said, well, what about for now? What we do is we remove all of this asphalt right through here. We create a drive that comes straight down right along our fence line to this point. And then we use these spots for parking. So people drive down, pull in and park.
Isn't that what I suggested? Just clarifying.
I wondered what Scott was gonna say when this proposal came up.
So if you guys are still okay with that, we'd like to hit the pause button on expanding this and instead focus on this. Now, in addition, next year is when NDOT's starting to work in this area here. At some point, I don't know if it'll be, this may actually be the spring of 20 7 to get into this area. But we are working with NDOT. NDOT was going to make this is, by the way, officially a residential drive. Not a commercial drive, but residential drive, which nobody can figure out why it's that way.
I'm sorry, what is, can you explain the difference between the two based on?
Width, residential
Okay.
drive is single car width.
Okay.
Which is kind of down for a high school, museum and a park.
Does that mean we're not allowed to widen it?
Getting to that.
Okay.
So
I'll be
NDOT
quiet and let you talk, Mike.
NDOT plans to take it from here to 14 feet, which is like a car and a half, which is not as smart as we'd like. So the museum has suggested this, I've already talked to NDOT. We believe they're going to expand this to 20 feet, which would be a 2-car. They can squeeze that in there, so they will do that. Same time, they'll be solving this drainage issue that's right in this area. The town will then, and I've already agreed to pay for this, need to pay for this little bit of concrete or asphalt right here.
Okay.
But at that point, I'd like to be able to afford to repave this entire parking area. Because it needs to be done. This is bad. So at that point, we'll have brand new parking areas here, we'll have this all paved down through here. So it'll make some nice parking for everything. And we'll just keep this as it is for now.
Do you have any estimate or did you take a measure on how many spaces that would potentially have?
We did. I don't remember if there's 25 cars in there.
Oh,
It's a
Okay.
lot.
that's
It was
double,
quite a few.
that's more than double what we were gonna get when we moved,
Yeah.
when we were talking about moving.
When
the
Mark,
climbing
George and I
area.
looked at it, I don't think we were at 25, but we were probably at 15.
Yeah.
So.
Okay,
I
Is
like that
that
option better.
The asphalt that's there right now, is that going to stay there and then you're adding on
No.
to it?
we will mill that all out and start all over fresh.
When you were talking about redoing this section up here that's right next to the museum, am I putting it right? Is that park property, would that be coming out of our budget or is that,
Oh, it's park property.
is that all park property? Okay, I thought that parking
I
lot
would
actually belonged to the
actually
museum.
probably use town funds to do this right up in here.
Okay.
That's what I would attempt to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because,
But we can start, what we would do is probably start, I don't know, Eric and I were talking about starting right in this area here to mill and then start this straight down right from here. So that's the project we'll begin getting quotes on.
okay. Do you need any kind of a vote on that, Mike?
Yeah, let me bring you back prices and stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
Please
if
do
you guys
that.
like the idea.
Yeah.
I like it. You like it? Yes. Yes.
Okay, next, the climbing structure. 10 grand to just move this thing, which is a ton of money.
Now we don't have to.
Well, you wouldn't have to. So we're suggesting we just leave it. And the mulch that we have trouble with getting on here is from the swing set.
Mhm.
So Eric thinks we can move this swing set ourselves, and he's suggesting, why don't we move the swing set and all that mulch down into this area here?
mhm,
That's what we talked about before.
yeah.
Okay, so that you're all okay with that?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that would stop people from driving their vehicles up to the pavilion too, because that's where they cut through, is that grass spot right there.
Right in
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will, do you have a particular location? You want it over here, or you want it over here?
I don't think it should be right in the middle, but if you could shift it more to where it's in line with the splash pad a little more. I mean, more towards
Closer to that area where they're gonna be
pad, I don't
playing.
know.
Yeah.
So closer to this area in here?
Yeah,
Okay.
That won't really block the drive
just so
there,
we
but
can, yeah.
where did they go?
I would just be cautious putting it that close to it because guess what's gonna happen with mulch?
Yeah,
It'll be on here.
It'll end up
but
at.
at least it won't be wet feet that's dragging it over to the,
But,
Yeah,
I mean, I like the idea of keeping it in visual with a splash pad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we put it right next to it, we're gonna create.
Yeah,
mud.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking if it's a similar area to this, that it's probably going to be right in this area.
Yeah.
Okay.
that looks good to me.
Right, that's what we'll move forward with.
I mean, is there any room to move it on the other side of the climbing structure?
Over here,
No, yeah, like even
Yeah, we,
Doesn't the slope kind of, doesn't it start to
It's a
slope up quite a
slope.
bit?
What
or is that
about over
just-
closer to the driveway? Oh, there's bathrooms there.
Yeah, bathroom.
yeah. I think we'd like to just get it away from this splash
Splash
pad.
pad.
And Scott, are you saying that because you kind of want the swing set and the climbing, like the play area stuff to be kind of closer together? Is that what you're
I
suggesting?
do like that, but I like it being moved over to the big green space too.
I mean, it makes sense what you're saying, like if you've got a mom down there or dad.
I
with
just
two
want the
kids, and
kids
one wants to
yeah.
swing and one wants to climb.
I just
they're
want people to
different
be able to
parts.
keep their kids in eye shot.
Yeah, that's what I figured you were talking about. So yeah, if we can take that into consideration when placing that, so parents can. And well,
What-
I guess, Scott, are you saying that if it is, if we do put it here, those distances are just too far apart?
No, I don't. I just wanted it, if we're gonna move it, if we could move it closer to this.
Yeah.
So it's still in parents' eye shot of
Yeah.
their kids.
I'm okay with that too.
So,
What are your thoughts, Andrew?
So what about the umbrellas for the people sitting there?
That's next.
It's on the list.
That's-
Calm down.
okay.
Coming up. It's on the list.
Coming down.
Oh, it's coming down.
Yeah. Pump the brakes, Rosemary. We're getting-
Mike, do you need
Just
a?
question, guys.
So working with,
No,
so
I'm,
when are
I'm
we
taking this
planning on
as,
working
you
with this
guys like that idea, so we'll move
Okay.
forward with that.
So when when are we moving forward with the parking?
With what? When are we moving forward with?
The parking on the left side that we just got done talking
we
about.
just-
After you get a quote, after I get a quote and the costs for you to approve.
So you could give us.
Okay.
a
Wait on
timing
calls.
next month.
Yep.
Okay.
Next month.
Next month,
Yep.
you should be able to tell us.
They-
So
this
we don't
was-
need to
do you-
make any
this is-
motion.
Nope, this was, do
Okay.
you like the idea? That's what.
Yep.
Yeah, you know.
That's what you liked a few minutes ago.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Basketball renovation, I think we're close, within a week or two of starting that. You recall it, we were concerned about it, we're gonna make sure that homecoming and the basketball court, because originally we were shooting fireworks off in this area.
Mhm.
So now that we're not, he can just go ahead.
Yeah.
It's soon to start.
That's what I was asking. I was like, man, are we shooting fireworks there?
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
I do have a question about that. Do you have an idea how long the job will take once they start?
I don't. Yeah, but John moves pretty fast.
Yeah, he's quick, man.
Yeah.
Right. I was
I
just
guess a couple
curious about
weeks,
that.
maybe, I don't know how long you need to leave that cure out
Cure.
before you get people on it.
Yeah, and do they take care of, or are we gonna take care of making sure it's, taped off as it needs to be to keep
Yeah,
people off
John
of it?
takes care of all
He
that.
does that, super.
Are we gonna put the town logo afterward?
Andrew, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Park
Our
logo.
logo would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would be awesome.
I want a
That's a
pirate.
good idea.
You want a pirate?
Pirate what?
I want a pirate.
Let's,
In the low, in the
But
middle.
are
of the-
you-
pay for the. pay for
Serious
the
about it?
reconstruction.
I like the idea.
Hey, if you guys can find an artist that can paint something in the circle, go for it.
Well, do we have anybody hired that's gonna paint the lines? It's, That's something
Boy,
they
I
do.
think we have, but I'm not sure offhand.
can we inquire with them if they
It'd probably be a stencil. that-
do that kind of thing? Yeah.
We can, I
I
guess.
like the idea of that.
I like the pirate.
Just- I'll make sure it's too worldly.
I like the pirate. Well, you know that, remember those flags
Could you
that
get
we
us a price
had,
for that,
those
Mike?
banners that we had, that.
Or at least see if they do that kind of thing.
The black pirate, just that would do really good.
I almost like the logo,
Oh, you
the
mean,
park logo.
The Bristol Parks logo.
oh, I like that too.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
there's
I
something
like the
painted in there.
Bristol
would be
Parks
cool.
logo.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the basketball court renovation for this evening, Mike?
Nope.
Okay. Next one is the sunshades and.
Okay, we have just hit the total pause button on that because they're expensive and we're waiting to see if we get a grant so we can fund them with the grant.
Do you know if you ever
Hey, I've
looked
got
into the
3 of them.
ones?
Do you want to just put some of them down there this year?
Sure.
I have 3 of them that I bought
I-
that are not expensive. I've had it up at my house for I don't know how long. You know, I can get it up this year because I haven't been out to, I got sick. But I have 3 of them that I can just give you guys.
I love free stuff.
Is
Well,
that,
Well,
no, we'd have to, look into building something to hold them, but,
3 poles. That's all you need.
Wouldn't be too expensive.
3 poles in the ground.
Okay,
I'll bring them over tomorrow.
well,
Oh, you're not gonna be here?
no, I'll be here. I'm just thinking about where I'm gonna put them if you bring them over.
They're,
In the package right now.
I can carry 2 of them myself or maybe
Gotcha,
3.
bring them on over, I'll put them in my office with everything else that's there.
Okay.
Okay.
But Mike, the other thing I was gonna ask,
Two-wheeler, wheel it right in here.
Linda,
Huh.
are the size of those, with 3 of those, is that gonna be enough to cover, say, 3 picnic tables or?
3 tables would be fine.
Okay. I mean, if that, we're not talking about putting more than 3 picnic tables down there, are we?
Well, if you put the poles in, then you can, and if you don't like mine, if you want to get canvas shades, these are polyester shades, anyway. Then you can get the nicer ones.
Linda, I will say from experience with doing some of those at my home, the posts, you really want them installed to kind of the specific size of the canopy. If the new
Mhm.
canopies don't match the ones you've got exactly, it would probably cause some issues with the location of those posts. And I'm not saying that to say it's a bad idea, we shouldn't do it, just letting everybody kind of know ahead of
Well,
time
I'll
that if
just
we wanna
bring
try
them
different
over
stuff.
and put them over here and you guys can look.
Take a look and, cause I'm okay with that. as
We
an
all can look
alternative.
at them because they aren't.
If it's
in the-
free, we can install them and then it's easy to tear stuff out.
I'd love to get them installed as soon
I
as
do
we
too.
can. I mean, it's warm and I know parents would like to have some shade, some of them when they're down there.
Okay.
And so as far as location for those, do you have a specific location in mind already?
Over
Or are we
the-
talking about after we move this, possibly doing something in that area?
Well, you have picnic tables.
existing.
There's 2 picnic tables right there.
Where? Here and here?
No?
Can you zoom in?
Right there. Oh,
There,
zoom
there,
in.
and there.
That's a picnic table?
No. On the ends of
It's a
those
bench, I
2
believe.
things.
Those are.
Oh, here and here.
That and that is 2 picnic tables.
Yeah,
Okay,
2
yeah,
picnic tables and then there's
bench.
2 picnic tables and a swing.
okay. I'd like to
Maybe.
see at least one of those covered.
No, if we got 3, and we'll cover both of these and
Then pick a bench and cover it.
the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
The swing,
That'd be great.
maybe.
This, oh, there's a bench that's a swing, is what you're saying,
This is a swing.
right here.
There's
Where's
the
your laser
right
pointer?
there.
That one.
Okay.
Okay. Can we, if she provides you with those, Mike, could you look into getting a canopy put over the 2 picnic tables on the swing bench?
You know, I don't know if it'll cover a whole picnic table, but as the sun goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing with,
Yeah.
with canopies, different times a day, it's gonna just not provide as much shade, but unless you get a canopy that's 20 by 20 over a little picnic table, you're not gonna get the coverage. And that, one of the things I wanted to ask Mike was that if he looked at the company that we bought that play set from, the Infinity Climber that we got my first year, they had canopies, that weren't too incredibly expensive, and I know that company also did installs and things, if he.
I'm just saying, you guys are running out of money, we're spending a lot.
Oh, no,
of
I'm
money.
talking.
That's the reason I prioritize basketball court,
Right.
parking and this. So actually, we were waiting on the grant monies to do the sunshine thing, that's all.
Yeah, and I was bringing that up as a proposal to say, look into for like next year or the year after. I think as a short-term solution, Linda's free canopies are a great idea and we should get that going ASAP.
I thought if I
If
could,
we're
I only
looking
have
at,
had 2. I might have totally bought 3 and I used 1, so I might only have 2.
can you need to grab that?
Indian giver.
I know, Indian
Yeah,
giver.
grab
Yeah.
All right,
Is
I
amazing.
think that's
Got my grabber.
it,
Even-
because
yeah.
cleaning needs proposed by Cat.
I got something else on coming.
Yeah.
When we had our public meetings, the lady that's runs the museum
Yes.
Yeah,
came and talked to us about making restrooms accessible.
Accessible?
Yes,
Really?
and said if we paid for it, potentially making a drinking fountain available
She did mention that to me.
I wanted to know if we could facilitate a conversation with her to see if we could get
Yeah.
something worked out.
Actually, planning to talk with her tomorrow.
Okay,
Oh, great.
Bring that
I
up.
just wanted to bring that up one more time with her and see if that, because they also wanted themselves to put a seating area somewhere off the back of their for people to be able to
This
use.
area?
Yeah.
Somewhere, yeah, that
Hmm.
I don't know where, she was, but then that would allow people to come, because they wanted people to feel welcome
Oh,
to come in. So I wanted to see if that was still a
okay.
viable thing with her since she approached myself
Yeah.
with those ideas.
What do you mean accessible restroom?
They have bathrooms in there that people could go in and potentially use to change when they're
Oh,
open
very
or
good.
use. Yeah, so public could come in. She said
A
they
beautiful
wanted to
bathroom,
play
bathroom.
nice with us since they weren't going to be going anywhere for a while.
Mhm.
They wanted to play nice with their neighbors. I asked, because we can't put a drinking fountain in there, but they have water. Could we at least, that water fill station that we wanted? And she said they might be able to get one installed inside of, and then make it to where people could go in to,
Oh, I love that.
but we would have to provide the station, but they would provide the access to it. If you could revisit that.
Yeah. I plan to talk with her about restrooms, because we need nice restrooms down there, and if we can
Yeah.
access the ones inside that museum.
And she said that they would like to figure out a way to facilitate that.
Okay,
Okay,
Wow, yeah.
But that water fill station would be an important
sure.
that'd be really nice. Yeah.
thing too. But just wanted to bring that up
Yeah.
while you're having conversations with them. Please and thank you.
Yep, great. Thank you, Scott.
Yes, okay, cool.
Thanks. All right, moving on to Herman's Park. Mike, do you have any
Do you
update
know
on
more
that?
about the cleaning at Fermance?
Yeah, I can give an update on that.
What I was talking about was the stuff that Kathy had proposed. Is that what you're talking about? Like the extra, like getting a new mop and cleaning stuff and soap dispensers? That's kind of what I was asking about, but I thought
don't know
Eric was
where
working on
Eric
it, so.
did that with that. I can't answer that, so no.
Eric and Kathy were both down last
week.
Monday.
Yeah,
We went through some stuff, and Kathy said he was acquiring those.
Okay.
Items.
Yeah.
So what?
That sounds great. And that was my question, but Jill, whatever you want to share with us about the cleaning.
yeah, I was just
All
gonna let
yours.
you guys know, we did hire Dutch cleaning last week, and they did go in, last week and do a deep cleaning in Herman's Park, so that's been done.
Super.
Um,
Have you seen it since or?
I
I
had
went-
Kathy go down there because she's more familiar with, the building.
Sure, what did
I was
you
there
think
for
of-
the Cants open house and, oh, it looked nice.
Did you?
Yeah, the
And I
floor
heard
looked,
how cool it was in there too.
yeah,
For how that is.
the floor looked great.
Okay, good.
I didn't see any issues with the floor.
They weren't there yet, so.
Yeah, I didn't think it looked, so if like Eric had gone in there and cleaned the floor prior to them going in, like, I don't know, I thought it looked, Gloria and I were like, this isn't dirty,
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. I asked Nick what he thought and he's like, it looks great. I didn't have any complaints, so.
Well, that's good.
Okay,
But yes, that was different, but that building has lots of humidity in it, especially with the heat we've had. But I was told that day, that super hot day, it felt like it was almost air conditioned. It was nice and cool in there. So
They had
that's
They had the
great.
fans going up and they had them towards the river end of the building,
So,
blowing towards the restrooms that way. And it was cool in there.
yeah,
very nice. Okay, is there anything
And that day
else?
was beyond hot. Ooh.
yes, it was. But, we'll continue doing that maybe semi-annually, continue the
Yeah.
cleaning and, ladies that use it for the aerobics, probably twice, 3 times a year, they do a phenomenal job at inside, outside windows.
Great.
So
Okay,
maybe next month we can provide you more of an update with the other items Kathy had,
okay.
see where we're at.
Yeah, and I think the gist of that was just to make it easier for renters to clean so that it's happening more often and
Yeah.
more efficiently, so. Yeah, now that we've cleaned it, let's see if we can make it stay clean. Okay, thank you, Jill. Rosemary, do you need anything else? You good?
I'm just ready, so.
You're getting it, sweetheart. Thank you. It's like herding cats working with us. Okay, looks like the last thing we've got is the tree removal cost schedule update from Mike on Memorial Park.
Yeah, so I looked at too many tree removal prices. Is that one 3,000?
That was 3,000.
I believe it
Yes.
was, yeah,
3,000.
that's,
And
that's good for a tree
coming up
that size.
Tuesday, like tomorrow, Tuesday,
No, next year.
next Tuesday, right before homecoming. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And are they
Anybody have
taking
any
the stump
questions or
out?
comments on that?
Yes.
They're gonna grind it out
Stump
so
is
that we can,
grinding it out and is it being leveled and
and seeded.
seeded?
Well, I don't know how much work we'll put into that, because we're gonna rip that whole park up to put a water main through it. I'm sorry.
Maybe that's
Didn't I
fair.
share that with
Yeah,
you before?
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, you did.
Yes.
Yeah, they've already ripped out our irrigation.
Yeah,
So who's gonna fix that? Who's gonna fix the irrigation? Is that gonna be something that the park board's gonna end up having to do or?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Niblock will do it, but didn't I share this with you, what we're
No.
doing?
No,
Okay, so the new water main's coming along right in here, and that's the reason stuff is ripped up. We're going to be going from there down to here somewhere. And then we'll be going across and over this way.
so what are you gonna do with our water that we have there where the rock is over the top of it? Are you keeping that?
It's gonna be north of that.
Is that what? Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's not, yeah,
It's right in there?
no,
No.
it's further south, Mike, right to your left.
Right here is the water.
Oh,
The rock?
The rock with
yeah,
the
I think
water.
that's right. It is right in
The
there.
rock with the water's right there.
Yeah, well, Linda, don't worry about it. We'll take care of everything.
But is your concern that we're not gonna have irrigation in that park when they're
We
finished?
will have,
We don't have irrigation.
We don't have it
now.
right
They
now.
tore it out.
yeah,
But we had it,
Yes.
yeah.
and you want it after they're done.
Well, I
Yeah,
want it fixed.
we had a drinking fountain in there.
It'll be fixed after. The problem is we got this 2-year-long project
Yeah.
and this one's ended up a year now and a half.
We
Seems
don't have
like
any lights on our flags either, just to let you know.
these flags.
We don't have any lights on those flags. They tore that up too.
Well, not actually. There's another problem. There's a
Okay.
door out front. Actually,
Okay.
I thought a commercial electrician fixed that, but anyhow. It's a construction period that's gonna last until 2026.
What's going on across the
I hope it gets all done before I die.
I hope you don't die by 26. Like right in here. Is that what you're saying, Scott?
The vacant lot, what's going on across the vacant lot?
Well, we're putting together requests for proposals for what people want to do with this lot and this lot. We're keeping this lot open because now the county is talking about building another lane onto this bridge, to which we can attach a pedestrian bridge.
Nice.
Yes, but it's their 10-year plan.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. So I'm already, well, anyways, so that's the deal. We're in the process of solving this ownership issue here, which is all the way along here, and it's a mess. Because this is owned by I&M, except
Yeah.
I&M says if they don't own it,
they say we own it.
well, they say.
They wanted to give it to us.
They say
I&M
they
said
did
they
give it to
did
us.
give it to us.
They said they did give it to us.
Yeah.
The problem is, that's not the way it's recorded. So, well, we're gonna talk about it Thursday night, so I can talk about it now. Back in the history of this, there was some sort of a sheriff's sale or something with this property, and a deed was not recorded properly. So this is actually no man's land, although for property tax purposes, this will now show as the town of Bristol's land. But we have no recorded title that we can transfer to anybody. So we'll be probably going to court to quiet the title, is what it's called. So we'll quiet the title on
we've created a line that goes right from here all the way back to the river. So we will quiet the title on all of that, so the town owns all of that. We'll do the same thing here with the parking lot, go all the way back to the river, all the way back to the river. So the town will have clear title. For the Redbird and everybody else, they've got a problem they have to solve. And it gets more complicated
Can't they
for them.
solve it like you're solving it?
They can, except that the town clearly owns this. We have clear title of this 10-foot strip.
Yeah.
So if you quiet the title from here all the way back to the river, the town has to agree to that.
Yeah. So,
And INM refuses, the simple way to do this is a quit claim deed
Uh-huh.
to the
mhm.
town. They will not do that. So I've worked on this personally for over 2 years. Maybe every year since I've been here, maybe.
It's longer than 2 years.
Yeah, it seems like forever.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening on that spot. We have some really good images, exciting images of what might happen there for a building. And that was at the last town council meeting.
Okay.
If you want to see those, I'll show those after the meeting. I have them here.
Okay. Scott, does that answer your question?
It does.
No. Okay, does anybody else have any other business for us?
Oh, what about,
Hmm?
did you see that on Facebook? Where they were talking about that there was diapers thrown out by.
Yeah.
What?
A lady that my wife's familiar with cleaned up a bag full of trash right at the kayak launch where someone had thrown a bunch of broken bottles, trash, diapers were in the trash. A friend of Lori's, but it's a lady that lives down the street from us that she cleaned it up, but she put come on, let's act a little better
On Facebook.
Facebook. But yeah, that was a legit thing. Lori knew the lady, they talked about it. And I asked her to tell her thank you for, from us, and
It was
Lori
at-
did.
It was at this kayak
Yeah.
launch. So we're putting waste containers
Yeah.
down there, might
Okay,
be there now.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've also had.
She wasn't complaining about the waste containers not being there. She was just complaining that
Tell the
somebody
people are
emptied their trash
don't
right
leave
there.
Do that.
And she cleaned it up.
We're doing something similar down in this area because this dumpster's locked, so we're trying to figure out a way to.
Her complaint wasn't against us, it was against people
Yeah,
leaving
Okay.
a mess.
I should send her a thank you card.
yeah.
I could get her name from Lori and I'll
Can
send
you?
it to you.
That'd be
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
And thank you, Mike, for getting.
Yeah.
some-
Yeah, Lori interacted
Traffic
with her on
circles put over
Facebook
there.
and
Yeah, I didn't see that. but
they messaged, well, I think they messaged outside of that message back and forth, so.
If
Okay,
you guys want me out, we can send on the dartboard and.
Yeah.
yeah, I would appreciate that if we can send a thank you on our behalf. Thank you.
Did we ever send a thank you to the Condons for donating that land? To the town? Should we?
Donating which land?
The park.
Memorial
Our
Park.
Memorial Park.
Like,
Was it to the?
just recently, or are you talking about?
Yeah, like when,
Yeah.
Oh, for the acquisition of the new park where we got the trees up coming out.
Yes.
yeah.
Gotcha, okay, took me a minute.
Do we need to?
Yes, if we haven't said a thank you to,
We
The
should
Condon
send a
family?
thank to the Condon family.
could we,
Pam?
It's gotta be one of the boys.
Pam, send it to Pam.
Yeah, Chris and.
okay, please and thank you. All right, does anybody else have any more business for this month?
Jill reminded me that you might want to know that we're spraying all the parks Monday morning.
Oh, I did wonder about that. Okay, so we're gonna do similar to what the method was last year and see how it works. Okay. Mhm.
Skeeter Joe,
Monday morning?
Monday morning.
Okay.
Park,
Super.
cemetery. Everything.
Okay,
All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn,
motion.
second?